Hi guys, it's Vanessa. I wanted to do this tutorial today to show you what my skin looks like with no filters. I don't ever use filters or anything like that on my videos, but when I change to a new hormone, my doctor puts me on a new hormone, or like if you just get hormonal like around your period time or something, your face can break out, obviously, or stress can cause it, whatever. I'm going to show you how to conceal and cover it today. First off, I started a new skincare routine. It's the Yes to Tomatoes, and I first wash my face with the cleanser and stuff, and then I apply this moisturizer and let it totally dry on my face. And then I go in with my primer, which is the Master Prime by Face Studio Primer, and this is the Blur and Illuminate 200. And then the foundation that I use is the Matte and Poreless Maybelline Fit Me 122. If you use a matte foundation, I feel like it really blurs out your blemishes because it's not shining off of them. Okay, so I'm going to put on my foundation. So I typically use my fingers because I don't like to have to clean my brushes so much, and I feel like it applies better with your fingers. Actually, I just go in and I know exactly how much foundation I'm gonna need, so the more you practice it, the more you will. But I totally disagree with the people who say it's nasty to put your foundation on with your fingers. Okay, if you're nasty and don't wash your hands, yeah, that would be nasty. And that would cause more blemishes because you're putting more bacteria onto your face. But as far as I cleanse my hands like all the time. I'm always washing my hands, actually to the point where I'm OCD about it and they get dry. So I clean my hands obviously more than my brushes. So they're going to be a lot cleaner than those brushes are. So because most people wash their brushes maybe once a week or something. I've seen on a lot of the tutorials they literally only wash their brushes once a week. But if you want to use your brushes, if you want to use your beauty blender, that's fine too. I just don't like to use my brushes as much on my foundation. I do use my brushes on my eyeshadows, and I do clean my brushes daily, but I clean them with alcohol daily every time I use them. And this is a trick that I've been doing for a while, and I posted it on some of my videos, is to take some extra foundation on your finger after you've applied your first coat, and just to let it sit for a few minutes, because this is very buildable coverage. This matte and poreless foundation is. I just let it sit for a few seconds, and then I take my finger and press. I don't want to rub it all over because it just takes the product off of the blemish, and I want it to cover the blemish, but not only cover the blemish, blend into the rest of my foundation. So I'm going to sit here and just pat around it. Try not to pat exactly on top of the bump, pat around it to blend that foundation into the rest of your skin, but still leave the full coverage on the blemish. And if you need to do it a couple more coats, you can. This is very buildable foundation. If you clean your brushes in your beauty blender every day, then I don't see a problem with using it for your foundation. It's just so much easier for me to blend it in with my fingers, I feel like. Whatever's easier for you, however you want to do it, it's your face and your makeup. I just do disagree totally with people that say it's nasty. It's only nasty if you're nasty and don't wash your hands. You can see how much more coverage I got just by doing that. This bump is rather large, so I will go over it maybe 2 more times, just depending on how much coverage I need here. And you see how it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look cakey or anything like that. It literally just blends into the rest of your foundation. And if you have enough time, if you let these coats dry in between the next coat, it will look a lot better. It will dry faster, and you may not need as many coats if you do it that way. Okay, I'm just going to let this sit and dry. Okay, it's sit for a few seconds. Now I'm just going to pat around it, try to blend it into the rest of my foundation. Also, before I apply my moisturizer, I wash my hands. I wash my hands after I apply my moisturizer, then I apply my primer, then I wash my hands again, and then I apply my foundation. That's the way I always do it. You don't have to wash your hands quite that much, but I'm just really OCD about it, and I like my hands to be clean, especially when I'm touching my face that's already irritated anyways from my hormones. And some blemishes you're not going to be able to like totally conceal, because this one was like massive, the size of my whole face almost. But it definitely looks a lot better, and you can see from where the other blemishes were that they blended in very evenly, and it looks really good. I'm going to put one more coat on there, and I'm just going to leave it on there. I'm going to go wash my hands and start applying the rest of my makeup. Also, I wanted to say, if you have false fingernails or really long fingernails, I don't, because I keep mine short because I have a baby and I don't want to scratch him when I pick him up or anything. Well, he's not a baby, he's 7, but he's still my baby. And if you do have false nails, they make these little brushes that you can clean up under your nails with. It's really important. If you have false nails, look up under your nails right now, and if they're dirty, take a brush and clean that out. That's nasty. That's a lot of bacteria, especially if you're using your fingers for your makeup application or your moisturizer. Anything like that, you need to be really careful with bacteria getting into your face, because it will cause more blemishes. Just going to be really careful and pat this out. Also, when I'm extracting my bumps, I use this Tweezerman limited, I forget what it's called. I think it's like an extraction tool. I don't know, but it was high. It was $17.99. But it has these like things that you use, and you put this like on your blemish and push down and pull, and it pops it for you without getting bacteria in it. Obviously, if you clean it each time with alcohol, and it really gets all that out, all that junk out. And you can use it for like your blackheads on your nose and stuff at night. A lot of people don't even realize how much stuff they have in their pores, but if you take one of these tools and you push it down on your nose like this after you've washed your face, a lot more stuff comes out of your pores. But I keep it back, I put it back in the case, just keeps it from getting bacteria in it. And I always clean it after I use it, every time. It's very important to clean it after you use it. And before. Sometimes I clean it before. I'm going to apply my concealer now. I'm using the Flower Beauty concealer in the shade BC1. It's a really light, like pale shade. And to conceal my like dark circles and stuff, I'm going to make a line right here beside my nose and down into where that creases in and back out here. So down the side of my nose, down where that dent's in, and back up to lift my eyes. Also, if you go in a straight line right here, it makes you look a lot more youthful, I feel like. I always do use a beauty blender for my concealer. I feel like it's the best thing to blend it out with. You can use your fingers if you want to. I clean my beauty blender every day, and like whenever it gets old, I get a new one because I can't stand them to be nasty. But always, always wet your beauty blender before you use it. I like to apply concealer down my nose. I can never get it in like a straight line. Just right here. It's for a little highlight on my top lip right here at my Cupid's bow. And I also like to do my chin. I don't like to use concealer for blemishes because I feel like, unless it is your skin tone, if you can find a concealer that's exactly your skin tone and exactly your foundation tone, use it. But if you use a lighter concealer on your blemishes, it just makes them stand out more. It's highlighting them. Don't do that. That's bad. I just take it and bounce it around and it blends that out really well. And again, I'm not saying you can't use your brushes or your beauty blender, because I do use a beauty sponge, and I do use my brushes on my eyes. And I also use my brushes when I apply my blush. Just clean them. It's so important to clean them. Also, if you will use a setting spray when you do your makeup, it's very, very forgiving of cake face or any foundation that's too thick or powder that's too thick. It really blends it out and gives you like a healthy looking glow and sets your makeup for you. Setting sprays are the bomb. This shirt was another one of my thrift store finds. It was 75 cents at We Care in Dayton, Tennessee. It's my favorite thrift store, and my son really loves it. They're really nice to him there. But I just took and cut the collar out and pulled it and stretched it, and also cut a slit in the back, because it was actually a little bit like, it wasn't tight, but it was just uncomfortable tight, you know what I mean? And so I cut a slit in the back, and it made it have more room for me because I am a bigger woman. And I also cut this like this so it wouldn't hang open when I bend over, but it's just enough to have the off-shoulder look. I can do a tutorial on that if you guys want to see that. Just comment on it down below. Okay. When I set my face, I like to use my Airspun loose face powder in Naturally Neutral. And this really helps for coverage too. And it also like makes your foundation not melt off where you do have those blemishes. So I always like to set it on my blemishes. Don't rub when you're setting it down either, because it will pull it off where your blemishes are, and you don't want that. You want it to be covered. At anywhere you put that concealer. But where you put the concealer, you want to press it into your face, because it really makes it set that way. Also, if you have facial hair, do not set your upper lip with powder. It makes your facial hair look worse. Okay, this is from my foundation and my powder. This is how dirty these things get. That's why I clean them every day. It's so, so important. So many people don't do that. I just think it's so gross. Set for a minute, I like to take a really loose brush like this, because I don't want to pull all the powder off. I just want to pull the excess powder off and just brush it off like this. Really light pressure, because I don't want to take my foundation off, and I want to leave a little bit of that powder. See how much more coverage I got just from setting that with powder on those blemishes? Again, I'm using a really light hand. If I'm going to use a darker eyeshadow or an eyeshadow that has fallout, I will leave this powder on my face until after I finish my eyeshadow. But today I'm not. I'm just going to go for something really simple probably. I'm not sure what I'm going to wear today, but so I'm going to go ahead and brush it off. When I brush this off, I like to go over my lid too to get it more mattified to where that eyeshadow sticks down better. I do contour, but not all the time, and I don't go for an extreme contour. I'll use my Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer and this little brush I got from Big Lots. It has like a foundation end and a concealer end. I'll take the tiny concealer end and go down the edge of my nose right here. Because my nose is wider on the bottom, I want it to look skinnier on the bottom, so I'll only do the tip here. And then right here across. I also like to put it on my under my bottom lip there, just to give it a little more sticking out puckerness. And then I take the foundation part, since it is flat, and I'll go right on the top of my cheekbone right there. And then, since I'm bigger, I'll go right here on my jawline to make it a little more chiseled. Don't go under your jawline. You want to go right here on your jawline. Then I'm going to take that same loose brush and blend that out. I don't put a whole lot of product on because I don't feel like I just don't like it that way. Just overly made up look does not look good. Going with my blush, and this is by CoverGirl, and I have broken the top to it, so I don't know what shade it is, but it's like a pinky, really pink color. And I'm going to take a fluffy powder brush and use this to apply my blush with. I do like to use a lot of blush. I like that really pinky look. And I just sweep whatever's left on my nose and on my chin. Sometimes I go on my forehead even, just to kind of distribute it throughout my face so it's not just in one place. Looks more natural. I'm gonna highlight using my Physicians Formula in Translucent Pearl and a fluffy brush. I'm just gonna go right at the top of that blush, on the top of my cheekbone. You don't want to bring it low. You want to make it high, right at the top of your cheekbones. And then I kind of blend it in. Then I take a smaller concealer fluffy brush. I'm going to go at my Cupid's bow. Just makes your lips look more pouty. And then just take a little bit and go down the center of my nose here, like this. Just take whatever's left on my chin there. Taking my fluffy brush and just blending it out a little bit more.